That's basketball.
Well, it's best of 5 games.
This is hockey. Or is it basketball?
Basketball. But it's the best of 5 games.
I know.
So we got to win at least 3.
I saw Gracie last night. She's sitting on a wall. I said it's done.
Was sort of the Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark, just this phenom, this 3-point shooter. She's reached like her physical form. It seems like this playoff, she has been extremely dominant. She has showed up against that Aces squad and really was the one to put them to bed. And I think that like this is really her emergence as the Sabrina Ionescu that we've been waiting for, that we thought. She's always been a great player, but she has taken it up another notch in the playoffs. And so add these 2 stars, add the fact they're in Brooklyn, in Barclays, add the star power in the arenas, like they will have a tremendous home court advantage.
All of that said, the Lynx have beat the Liberty 3 times already this year. So what have they got going for them?
And Nafisa Collier is who they have going for them. I mean, she was runner-up to MVP this year, and she has been as great as I said. Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu have been so far in the playoffs. She's been the best player in the playoffs. I mean, what she did against the Sun to get rid of them, 25-10 in 3 straight games. It never happened in WNBA history. She put the team on her back to beat them in 5 games and was dominant in the elimination game. If Minnesota is going to win, she is going to have to be the best player on the court for all the games that they play.
The biggest story in women's basketball this year has been the size of the audience, driven by the emergence of college star, now WNBA star, Caitlin Clark. Her team, the Indiana Fever, lost out in the first round of the playoffs. So has the enthusiasm stuck around?
Yeah, it has, because, I mean, what we've learned is that the WNBA is a great sport. I mean, it's not something I learned, but a lot of people learned that. So when you watch somebody like Caitlin Clark, and you stick around because there's so much other great players out there. And also, the WNBA was already on a trajectory of breaking records every year. Last year when they had the finals, the most watched finals they ever had. Then you have this season, the Aces and the Liberty. It was the most watched playoff series that we've had in this century, essentially. And so people are watching now. The ratings are not as high as if Caitlin Clark was playing. I think everybody understands that and understands why and the magnetism that she has. But we are in for another series that is, a highly watched series. I mean, I think the country is just now sort of getting around to the Lynx because the Liberty and Aces have been so dominant. But once they see Collier and that team, I think they'll fall in love with them too.
So Caitlin Clark may have gotten people in the door, but folks stuck around even after she left the party.
Yeah, I mean, some people stopped watching again, of course, because Caitlin Clark is that big of a star. But I mean, to love Caitlin Clark and love WNBA is love what they do. Like what she does. Like Sabrina Ionescu has the same type of skill set as a Caitlin Clark. The threes, the passing, all that stuff, the competitiveness. Like if you watch WNBA for Caitlin Clark, you are going to stick around because the sport is, extremely competitive and it's a beautiful game of basketball.
Okay, so tonight is the first of 5 games. I know you said you don't want to make a prediction, but do you think it's going to be close? A blowout? What are you anticipating?
So I think that we are going to be in for a competitive, like full elimination series. I think this is going to go back and forth. These teams are evenly matched. The star power is there. I'm looking for close games. I'm looking for a couple overtime games in this series. I'm looking for an instant classic.
Squeeze every drop of juice out of
Absolutely.
Give me the overtime, give me 5 games, give me every moment of basketball. David Dennis Jr. is a senior writer at ESPN's Amscape. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're listening to All Things Considered from NPR News.
Support for NPR comes from the station and from ARM with the new podcast series Tech Unheard. ARM CEO Renee Haas talks to tech company leaders who are working to help shape the future of computing. Available on all podcast platforms. From Progressive Insurance, where drivers can compare direct rates using Progressive's rate comparison tool. Customers can see options and rates side by side. More at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. From American Jewish World Service, supporting human rights advocates worldwide in the fight for democracy, equity, and justice for all people. Learn more at ajws.org. And from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation at macfound.org.
This is CPR News, 89.5 FM KPRN Grand Junction, 88.3 FM KPRH Montrose, and 88.3 FM KPYR Craig. On translators in Gunnison, K210BS, Uray, K218BE, Parachute, K203FJ, Rangeley, K216BO, and Meeker, K216BP, and online at CPR.org.
Support comes from organizations and businesses across Colorado, including Coble Communities, building new townhomes in Front Range neighborhoods, walkable to parks, shops, and dining. Learn more at cobleco.com.
Support comes from Colorado College, offering the block plan in which students can focus completely on one class at a time with global education and field study. Learn more at coloradocollege.edu/global and field study. Right now, it's all about the safety of the people that are at the bottom. That's where our prayers are at right now.
12 people remain trapped 1,000 feet underground at a tourist mine in Teller County, Cripple Creek. One person has died. It's All Things Considered from CPR News. I'm Nathan Heffel, the latest from Teller County. Meanwhile, flooding and wind damage aren't the only concerns in the aftermath of Hurricane Milton.
The basic thing you should understand about disasters is they are the most political thing that happens in a democracy.
There are also unsubstantiated conspiracies about how the U.S. government is responding. And later, there's been a decline in the number of licensed foster homes across the U.S. And of those homes, few are taking in kids with behavioral and mental health challenges.
And that's why we have, kids sleeping in hotels or in social workers' offices.
But Ohio says a pilot program may be the start of a solution.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Spear. Hurricane Milton spared the Tampa area a second round of catastrophic storm surge that flooded homes and businesses during Helene just 2 weeks ago. But high winds and heavy rain still caused significant damage. WUSF Stephanie Colombini talked to some residents focused on recovery.
Matty Cole trims branches off a large oak tree that toppled onto a street in St. Petersburg while he waits for official cleanup crews to arrive. He chose to ride out Milton at home.
The experience was frightening, frankly, and I don't get scared by much.
The storm brought 100-mile-per-hour winds and 18 inches of rain in some areas. Cole knows it could take a while to get power and water restored and encourages people to be patient.
Bind together, be a community, and just love one another, man. That's all.
Now the region faces the daunting task of cleaning up Milton's damage, plus the heaps of debris still left from Hurricane Helene. For NPR News, I'm Stephanie Colombini in Tampa.
At least 7 people died in the latest storm. GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump campaigned in Detroit today. As NPR's Don Gagne reports, he spoke before the prestigious Economic Club of Detroit, where he focused on U.S. auto industry.
Trump said if elected, he would revitalize the U.S. auto industry, which he repeatedly described as on the verge of total collapse. He attacked electric vehicle mandates and promised more steep tariffs on foreign-based competitors. This speech was low-key, lasting 2 full hours, and at one point, Trump disparaged his Democratic opponent and his host city.
Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands.
Mayor Michael Duggan responded on social media, stating that crime is down and the population is growing, describing a city on the rebound. All of it done, the mayor said, without Trump's help. Don Gagne, NPR News, Detroit.
Kathleen Kennedy has died after complications from a stroke. She's